Very well, in fact. Oh.
Sorry.
Hey, how are you?
Very good. You?
Good. Hello.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Good. Tony, good afternoon. I think I speak for everyone in the room when I say it's great to see you back in football. It was a lovely reception when you were unveiled at the weekend, I think echoed by the wider football community. How much has that meant to you over the last couple of days?
Listen, over the last year, I would suggest it's been unbelievable. The football family of just the contact I've had really from some people who I don't even know from football really. You know, some top Premier League managers and stuff. They contact you. It feels, and obviously my association, the League Managers Association, have been amazingly supportive. But so many players that I've worked with over the years. It's been like an avalanche of love really coming my way over the last year. It's just been, of course, you've got your family and your close friends who have been very supportive, but it just felt the warmth really, and it's gives you the motivation and the drive to dig in on the dark days really. Because there is some really dark days as you're going through it, and I thought as a big strong man, being an athlete all my life, I was going to cruise through it, but days where I did find myself on the kitchen floor, days where I had collapsed, you need the strength of it. And then I'd look at my phone and I'd have 20 messages and 10 football managers, they're competitors in this industry, but I felt a lot of love over the last year, and it's really good. So the last few days, it's great from the the Albion fans. I spent 45 minutes in the car park the other day taking pictures and signing things, and everybody's just welcoming you back. I'm very conscious of having a good couple of years, was it 16 years ago, but doesn't stand for much now. Hopefully if there is a legacy there, that we had great success and played some good football and won lots of games, that we can come back and try to reenact that. Obviously, different players, different team, different ownership, but it's still football to me. I can try and create an environment where everybody wants to come to work every day and is happy and wants to play and wants to listen and just get the culture right at the football club that gives us a chance to be successful.
You've spoken there about some of the darkest days that you had, so I just wonder how cancer changes you as a person and changes the way you view the role of a football manager.
As a person, it's probably given me strength. It's given me, an ability to look at myself, and lots of days where I need the support of my family. It's, I do remember sitting in a hospital bed, feeling pretty ill. My kids having tears in their eyes, really, and realised that it was with a club very close to this one across the city. I needed to phone the CEO and say I'm not coming back when we planned that I would come back, and because I knew it was a longer journey. It's tough, and I've spent a lot of time in a hospital in Manchester seeing some unbelievably sick people with bandanas on their head, very fragile, very frail, and I know the feeling of lack of energy. Your body just empties of energy. It's hard to walk, never mind to stand up. It was a chore to stand up. Days when I had to sit down in the shower. Hopefully that's not too personal, but just the lack of energy. I'm trying to get to where I am today, bouncing, full of energy. I can feel it coming out of me. I want to get the players. I want the team to be the team I want now, and yet it's not going to happen that quick because a different coach has implanted, very cleverly and very tactically. He's put a certain style on this football team. Over a period of time, I will try and change it to a style that I like, and hopefully score more goals, create more chances, be more attack-minded, but don't lose the very, very good defensive attitude of the team and the structure that is in this team. So hopefully we can combine the two, and as we move forward, have a team that is very difficult to play against, but is also very dangerous and can score goals.
Those days on the kitchen floor and those days sitting in the shower, was being back in a dugout always something you pictured, or do you see this as a real bonus that you're back here?
No, it was always a plan. I was always, strangely enough, sadly enough for me, really, it's almost laughable now. We'd planned that I was going to be back for pre-season at Birmingham City. It's a long journey. It's a tough journey. It's and even the dual journey I had of going through the chemotherapy, which you have to get through it, and it's tough. But then I had a stoma bag, and for the thousands or millions of people who do have stoma bags, they'll know what I'm talking about. When I had a stoma reversal, this is, I don't know whether people understand what a stoma bag is. It basically, when you have your bowel dealt with, they disconnect it from where your bodily waste goes out, and it all goes into a bag. When you reverse it, your bowel hasn't been working for 9 months, and it's like an organism that you need to train again. And so if you can picture a number of pelvic floor strengthening exercises, stomach exercises I've done over the last few months to try and gain control again of my bowel so that I can tense up, and if I need to sit here and not go to the toilet, I can do it for a couple of hours, no problem. It's like you could do. You're not always rushing off the toilet every first urge. So I've got control again. I feel good. I feel it's really interesting. I'm on a low fiber diet, and I'm asking the doctors. So I'm eating no fruit. I'm eating no green vegetables. What about the saying of 5 a day keeps the doctor away? It's really. And yet they're telling me that human beings are carnivores, they eat meat, and if you eat enough red meat, you get enough vitamins and you get enough stuff in your body. And lots of questions run through my mind because I'm an inquisitive person. Do I need to take supplements? What do I need so that I've got energy? And yet I'm bursting with energy at the moment. And I'm taking no supplements, and I'm not eating any fruit, I'm not eating any vegetables, and yet I feel full of energy. And I look forward to every day. It's been really exciting walking back through the doors here at the Albion, at the training centre. That year we got promotion. I was laughing the other day. All the lockers are the same. I am saying, I think I helped design them lockers. It's because what happened when we got promoted?
Must be good lockers, then.
No, they're brilliant lockers. I designed them. But if you picture them back then, we just got promotion to the Premier League, and whilst the money wasn't anywhere near what the money was now, it allowed, Jeremy wanted to upgrade everything in the training ground. I would have preferred to buy some more players, of course, but it was a balance. And it's what I'm saying is, as I've walked in, I still recognise the lockers, I still recognise the rooms. And yes, there's been some additions. They've got hydrotherapy pools and everything here now, and which they didn't have when I was here. But it's still, I can feel it's a family club. I like all the people already in the building. Everybody. I've just met the guy, the maintenance guy, who was sweeping up as I came off the training ground. He was here when I was here. It's difficult for me to remember everybody, but Jean in the kitchen is still here. It's a great family club and community club, and I'm delighted to be here and trying to help.
Just a final one for you then before I chat to Andrew. You mentioned it there, you've done the job before in terms of delivering Premier League football for West Bromwich Albion. How do you view the challenge of doing it again? Is it tougher than it was back in 2008?
Well, I don't think there's an argument about that. Parachute payments make it more difficult, I think. And whilst there was parachute payments back then, and we had them, I don't know what they were, but let's say they were £4 million then, as opposed to, Andrew will know what they are now, but when you look at the league table, the anomaly, of course, is Luton, I think, who came down and have had a difficult time after selling lots of players. But your Leeds United, your Burnleys, your Sheffield United, they're still up there because I think the parachute payments that they still have are giving them an opportunity to keep really high-quality footballers on pretty big salaries, I think, and make the difference in games. And so I think it's more difficult. Playoff places, I think, are achievable, and we are in there fighting along with our opponents tomorrow night, for instance, who I've watched a fair bit over the last few weeks. I live 10 minutes from their stadium. Blackburn Rovers, another ex-club of mine, are doing extremely well, and I spoke to John Eustace yesterday. He's, I'm telling him he should be very proud of what he's done, and he's like me. He would like more players. Every football coach wants more players, don't they? It's a bottom line. Give yourself a better chance to win games if you could better players into the building. But it's exciting. It's back football, what I do really, and my main thought pattern is with the players, really trying to find out their personalities. I like to do one-on-ones with them all as I come in and feel what they're feeling. Are they frustrated? Are they not playing enough game time? The previous manager didn't do this for me and he didn't do that, and I get a feel of them, really. It's very difficult after the first proper training session with them to know their personalities, and it's real focus for me to make sure before I say something, I remember everybody's first name and not, it's difficult. But really enjoying it and looking forward to the challenge of the games. If I was going to pick the first game for me, I'm not sure it'd be Middlesbrough away. But it is, and we will get on with it. What I would say about Michael's team is, I think they're as well a coached team as I've seen, and yet they've had some difficult run of results. I think the last 4 home games I've sort of watched them, they've drawn 3 and lost 1. I think it's so we go in there at a time where we have to try and impact our style on them, really, if we can, because I think they're a very well coached team, and it's a tough game for us, but one we're looking forward to and getting going.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Andrew, just a couple for you, if I may. Before I ask you about the man on your left, the search for a new manager, head coach as a whole, how have you found it, and has it been frustrating and maybe taken a little longer than you'd have liked?
No, we really stuck to our plan. This is a process that started months ago, and I say that in a way like when we do squad planning, you may have players you like, but you still always plan for the future. It's the same with coaching and really the entire sporting department. Since we've taken over, we were working on what the structure looks like, the type of culture we want to build here, the type of people we want to have in the building. So once it was confirmed that our head coach was leaving, we were in a position where we were ready to start our process. That process revolved around a number of factors. Most importantly for us was finding a head coach who really fits our game model and playing style. You can't change too much overnight. You certainly don't want to have this sort of change disrupt long-term squad planning. 2 was looking for someone more attacking minded. That was an area that we wanted to improve. And then from there, it's really finding the right fit in terms of culture, personality, man management style, and those types of things. We had done a lot of research globally on head coaches, really trying to get a better sense for performance, understanding underlying conditions of those performances. Points per game and table position isn't always going to tell you the full story. You have to know what's going on with the squads that the coaches have, budgets, other circumstances. And Tony's numbers were amongst the best of any coaches we've seen in recent years. So he was at the top of the list and one of the first calls we made.
When you talk about checking through data, I mean, that's obviously important, but you've used words there like culture and personality, and for a group of players, if they're not inspired by someone like Tony, not just because of his CV, but what he's battled back from, then they're probably not the right sort of players for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a unique story, and of course having the history and ties to the club, is a nice touch. It's certainly not, why we gave Tony the call. The call was because of really his recent performances, whether it's Blackburn, Sunderland, Blues. As I said, they ranked amongst the best in terms of uplift of player performances individually, squad expectations versus how the squads did. So that's why we gave him the call. But of course, finding that right fit, the right person. A head coach is more than just a tactician. It's someone who has to manage a group of men every day, different personalities, different communication styles. So you need someone who can adapt to that very well. And then, of course, your head coach is almost like a figurehead of the club. And that's kind of the image that gets put forward to the public and to your supporters. And of course, we want that to be someone that we highly regard.
Thank you.
Tony, when a new head coach comes in partway through the season, it's normally to a club that's struggling.
Yeah.
So how nice is it to come into a club that's had a positive start to the season and is right in the promotion button?
Listen, it's really good for me. It's I'm trying to, as I've been talking to Andrew and to Ian Pearce about, not to disrupt too much because there's not too much wrong. Not to come in and say, my brain was going back to to Brian Clough of don't go into Leeds and tell them put the medals in the bin. They didn't do it right. You know what I mean? So there's been some amazing work done at this football club. The defensive structure, the out of possession, the way they all run back, they all work really hard. Their structures are really good. And I've been watching some of the goals they scored this year. There've been some wonderful goals, and so there's not much wrong with what I've come into. I need to almost tickle its tummy, really, if I'm trying to give you a phrase. Don't go in and throw it out, just keep it going, keep the players enjoying. Yes, we want to try, and so at half time I went into the dressing room the other night and we needed to get more bodies in the box. We needed to put them under pressure more. I felt the second half on Saturday we played 90% of the second half in their final third of the pitch, and the goal was coming. I felt the goal was coming, and it did. It was just unfortunate we didn't get a second, but I think those are the areas for us to. I want the players, because I think there's a lot of really good attacking footballers at this football club. I'm not saying loads of brilliant number nines. If I think back, there's no Kevin Phillips, to be honest. But I think the attacking players we've got, I need to let them off the leash almost, let them go and express their talent. Grady, I think, is a wonderful footballer, and yet he's been a little bit inconsistent. And I can imagine why. If you're a technician, a talent who can skip through people's legs and look over there and play look away passes, it's very difficult if all your training has been around where's your defensive position. When you lose the ball, you've got to get back into a certain structure. That's fine. I want to sort of let them sort of players off the leash, really. We've got Fellows and Johnson and Grady, wonderful players in my eyes. And then you've got Carlon and Maggio, when he's fit, is going to bring what he does, links the play, comes deep, reverses the wide attackers into the game. But I'm here to tinker with it, I think, and not disrupt too much, but help them and make them better and improve, and just more about the culture, I think. We've sat in this room, to be honest, for a couple of days, and they've listened to me talking, as I'm probably doing now, talking a little bit too much, rather than be a bit more decisive on the answers. It just rolls on a bit too much, and I've got this out of body. I'm looking at myself saying, right, just cool it down, finish now, and yet I think it's passion. I think it's emotion. I want the players to know that I care about their careers. I'm here to try and help them become better and be successful. And we're winning together. And hopefully they enjoy the journey. That's what I'm trying to bring for them.
Andrew, then following on from that, can I ask you, was it that passion, that enthusiasm, but also that desire to play football that gets the fans off their seats that was another part of why Tony was the perfect fit?
Yeah, as Tony mentioned, the structures there defensively were very strong. We wanted to see a bit of an improvement on the attacking side and a style of play that gets the supporters excited and out of their seats, but ultimately helps us win games.
Hi.
Can I just ask you about the process when you got the all clear the other day, and how that fed into this process and how that made you feel?
Yeah. Well, I'd had some conversations with Andrew and Ian for a few days. That was probably meant to be half an hour, turned into 3.5 hours, me chatting too much probably. But and again, I say to you, I'm very conscious of that. Sometimes I over elaborate. Okay, you've told us what you think, but the process was my doctor, my surgeon, basically. He's a mad Man United fan. He goes home and away. He watches them in Europe, and I phoned him up when I got. You get sent letters that this procedure is going to take place on this day and this procedure. Now, the diagnosis from my scan was going to be 6 days after the scan, and I failed to understand why, really. I phoned him up and asked him is there a process that I could learn the scan results quicker, because I felt, and I would say over the last maybe 6 to 8 weeks, I've had inquiries from maybe 5 or 6 football clubs about, are you ready? What is your situation? Are you willing to have a discussion? And it was always, no, I've got scans in 4 weeks' time. No, I've got scans in a fortnight's time, what's the point of me discussing a job if I then have a scan and I have to go back under treatment? So I don't think it's wise for us to even discuss it. But then when I got to the point, I knew that in a few days I was having a scan. I phoned my doctor, this mad Manchester United fan, who I said, could you not let me know quicker than 6 days of what you've written on your schedule? And he said he would try. And so as I'm driving home from the scan that night at 8:30 it was pitch black. My wife was driving, I was sitting in the car, but and the phone rang, and it was Jonathan, it was Mr. Wilde, and he'd got the results. He actually told me that the head radiologist at the hospital was actually Colin Bell's son. So there's a football connection running right through it, you see, and I'm thinking, oh, that was good. And Colin Bell's son had just phoned him with the all clear, the scans look perfect, everything looks great. And I just wanted to let you know, because you had said to me, can we learn quicker than 6 days' time? So that's how it happened, really. And I phoned my advisor and said, listen, I've just had the call from the doctor. I don't know whether you need to do anything with the information, but everything is all good. Everything is clear. I am ready to talk to anybody because, yeah, and I was excited like a kiddie in a sweet shop, really. I was ready to go because I'd known for maybe 2 months, 6 weeks, I'm ready. I felt ready. My body was telling me I was ready. There was no twinges, there was no fatigue, there was no tiredness. I wasn't blowing hard when I was walking the dog. Everything was fine. I was full of energy, and I knew it was going to be all clear. But yeah, when it came, I just passed on the information, really, and then things moved pretty quickly from there.
Tony, I think everybody knows you're a modest man, but I wonder how you feel about potentially being an inspiration for other people who've had cancer.
I've discussed it with one of the doctors, to be honest, that I do. Listen, I lost my first wife in New Year's Day 1995 to breast cancer, and I was in Scotland, and I felt like I became an ambassador for cancer research, really. I was doing dinners and events every night practically, and I wasn't playing football. I wasn't in the team. It was the games were running by, and I sort of almost promised to myself that, for my family as well as for me. I love football. I never miss a game on the telly, and the ones I can't watch because it's on the other side, I'm taping and recording. I love it, and I want to watch it, and it's intriguing. I mean, I sit and watch the Premier League now. I shouldn't be talking about other things, but I like Ange Postecoglou. I want to play football like him, and you know what I mean. And yet, at this moment, he's not winning enough football matches. It's a huge question that runs through your mind. Do you change or do you keep going? Can you tinker with something? And yet I just want them all to win, and yet you can't all win. We're in a competitive world, aren't we? I get so frustrated with Manchester United. My best friend almost, or one of my best friends, Pally, I sit with Gary Pallister 2 or 3 times a week, having coffee in the morning, chatting about footy. Man United, he goes to all of their home games. What is going on? And yet you hope the new coach can get it right, and you can see there's no magic switch. You can just flick a switch and it wins all the time. So we've drawn the first game that I sort of was there and managed to talk to the players. We drew it like 11 out of 12 games in a run that they had recently. Another draw. How much influence can you have? How can you change it? I change it through showing them my personality, showing them what I'm about. Hopefully, they appreciate that I care about their careers. And together, we're actually, before I walked in here, we were watching the training back today. I need to bring a couple of the players in and show them what's wrong. You can't go into that position. You have to stay here. And hopefully they don't think, oh, the manager's criticising me. He's not criticising you. He's trying to help you. He's trying to make you a better footballer. They all want to play in the Premier League. Hopefully, collectively, we can all get to the Premier League. But if not, they have to be good enough individuals that the Premier League comes and plucks them. And they'll only do that by learning, watching, listening, getting better, wanting to improve every day. And that's the culture we're trying to bring, really, and that they know that we're all on a journey together to get back to the top flight.
And I guess just finally, sorry, so to be an inspiration, you don't have to talk about it. It's just being here now. And
okay, yeah. I talked that much. I forgot your original question. Listen, what I was going to say when I jumped back to 1995 there for you was I have done some talks around Middlesbrough and around Sunderland with like 500 people who paid to listen about football stories that but like we're having in this press conference, the medical side did come into it, and I think it's like, I see some NHS patients, and I don't want to dig, I'm not a politician, I don't want to drop into politics, and yet I've got a very close friend who it took like 18 weeks to get his results from his scan, and I'm thinking that, whoa, it took 18 weeks. I had my operation within a week and a bit of my diagnosis, 10 hours on a table. Why is the National Health taking so long to... Because I see so many... It feels like the whole world's got cancer when you live in it. Every time you flick the radio on, there's an advert. Every time you turn the telly on, to me, in my world, the telly's on the advert and it's on a cancer advert. It's like, it's everywhere. It's and if I'm an inspiration to anybody, then that's got to be good. You know, bottom line, we go into an era where two of the royals have got cancer that seemed to be around the same time as me, about a year ago, around January, February last year. I think they're hugely inspirational. You know, you listen to Kate and you listen to the King, they are huge inspirations. As a sportsman or an ex-sportsman, if I can inspire a different people, then great. I'm delighted I'm here. It's been amazing. I would have to say the hospital and the doctors and the nurses that have treated me. I've actually said to them, you know, I've enjoyed going through it. I haven't enjoyed having cancer. That's wrong to say that. But the experience of being in the hospital and seeing how these doctors and nurses actually work together, and how they give you the information, and then you go away and then you come back. To see the nurses, it's like the manager of the nurses. She wears a dark navy blue uniform, and all the girls who run around helping her, they wear light blue uniforms, and they always knock on your door. They're always very polite. Nothing is too much trouble for them. And the main doctor comes around as well with these young nurses, and it's unbelievable how they work it. And I try to compare it to like a football club, really, how everybody's trying for the same goal. I felt genuinely they wanted me to get better, which was, you know, it felt amazing. They weren't just doing their job and giving me treatment, and they genuinely wanted me to get through it. But you know, and I know, they must have thousands of patients who don't get through it, who get diagnosed with cancer, and it's a bit too late, and they have the treatment, and I've been through that in 1995. It's horrific, but I was trying to say it was great for me to watch how that industry works and how collectively supportive they are of people. And if I can help them, or I can help any patients who are going through it, because the dark days are there, they're coming. And but you will get through it with the love of your family and the people around you. All right.